Welcome to this meeting. Thank you for being here. I don't know, where should we start?
Well, I heard from Doug or Kara from the superintendent, and like I suspected, they're not allowing anyone inside the schools at this time. So,
All right, well, good to know. Thanks for reaching out to them.
And I had reached out to Italian Americans for IPD, and there is a meeting on Sunday at 11 a.m. with other town committees like ours to get together to see who's doing what for celebrating. I really hope that people come with ideas and we're all not showing up curious about what everyone else is doing with nothing to suggest. But Nicole, I did not see you on the email that was sent out to people who were invited to that Zoom. So if you're interested, I can forward it to you if you have time on Sunday.
I got an email from you, and I didn't reply because I'm not I mean, I guess I can, if I'm home, I would definitely go. So yeah, go. I'm not sure because my husband is leaving that day, so I'm not really sure I have that I can go, but
it also may not be necessary for all of us to be there. Like I'm planning to be there as well. So
okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Relieves the pressure on you to, yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds interesting though.
Okay, great. Yeah. We'll download. Maybe we can send an email afterwards of what happens.
Yeah.
But that's it from my side, other than I'm definitely tuning in to see like what is potential for the land acknowledgement, which might be something, Benny, you're covering.
So I emailed Mataween. I'm not even sure I'm remembering how to say her name correctly. And that she sent me to Heather, okay, now I can't remember anybody's name. The person from Italian Americans for Indigenous Peoples Day. She was like, you should talk to this person. They're organizing an event. So I didn't get any like direct feedback or ideas or like invitation to meet or talk or anything from Mataween. She was just like, talk to them. So, that sounds great. I'm excited to talk to that group and other people who are attending the meeting on Sunday. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? Without having received any of that guidance or ideas yet, is there anything that we feel like we can talk about today to move forward, like any stuff?
I really liked, I know that we probably wouldn't be able to do the land acknowledgement for right now because it's too close and we don't know like the ins and outs and if that's what the local organizations or commissions say that they want to do, but I think it's we should really consider doing something in honor of Leonard Baird and his shop. I don't know. I just kind of feel like we should do something to acknowledge his influence in the city. But I don't, because I just feel like that the Native American symbol is not, if you're not from here, you have no idea that he worked on it or anything like that. And I just think that it's just in poor taste, but doing something else, but I'm not really sure because I know you guys, we talked about plants and things, and there's probably not enough time for that, but yeah, I'm not sure, but
I was thinking about the Baird family today as well. And like what would be like what would be a way to engage with them? It's hard because we don't actually even have any plan for what we're doing. So it's hard to
Yeah.
like, engage them in like, hey, do you want to be involved in this thing? It's like, hey, do you want to be involved in something? Question mark. Who knows what it's going to be?
Yeah.
But we could also, first of all, I have no connection with any of them. Although Amy, who's also on the commission, I think it has some way to contact the family. So could maybe get their contact info from her or from, I'm sure, any number of people in town. But we could contact them and say, like, we're sort of in the early stages of planning something that would be probably fairly, I don't know what the word is, like low, like not an extravagant event because we don't have a lot of time, but see if they have any interest in participating or any ideas. I thought I had this idea while I was thinking about that of like, could it be an interesting thing? And I don't know who we would ask to do this is the problem, but would it be an interesting thing to have some kind of educational moment that we make available to people that talks about like, I don't even know what it would be, if it would be traditional regalia from this region or something like this. Okay, the thing that's on my mind is the headdress, right? Like this image of the Western American Plains Indian headdress, which is like so prevalent in the iconography, the like Native American logos and mascots and all that stuff in this region, even though it's not representative of like the peoples of this region. And I was thinking, like, would it be possible to have some kind of educational moment of like, I don't even know, just like talking about that. And I was thinking about the Baird family. I don't know if any of them are necessarily still connected in a way. I don't know, because the Trading Post used to sell like all these kinds of different things from different what do you call it, indigenous traditions.
Yeah.
There was the member of the family who testified, or I don't know if testified is the right word, but he was a participant in the forum that was hosted by the town, where they had a bunch of Native American leaders come.
That's Leonard.
Well, no, it was someone else. There was another member of the family who was a part of that forum.
Wait. Yeah.
He's younger. He's like maybe in his like 40s or something. And he was talking about how he goes to the powwows. He still does like, I think he maybe makes some regalia item.
Right. Is that not Leonard, the nephew?
Oh,
maybe, not his...
maybe I just don't know what his name is. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Wait, but what's the
Leonard is also the grandfather.
Right. Maybe I'm getting their names mixed up. And I think yes, well, Mr. Baird. I know, yes. I can't think of his first name either. Yeah.
Anyway,
Nicole Caleb, I know someone is in contact with him, so that could be something too.
Anyway, so that was kind of a random idea that floated through my brain. I don't know if it's like helpful or valuable or what would be good to do about that. But
I mean, I think that's a good idea. Discussing what is traditional of the tribes of this region. What did they wear? What kind of, like some tribes have this like tattoos on their face. There's the I forget the proper word for it, but it's like throat singing is something. So if we, had any, it's just if we had good resources where we could either use their materials and show it with their permission, just for educational purposes. It's kind of what I was hoping we would get out of with connecting externally, was to get some of those resources directly from the source and along with that approval. And then I guess the other thing we could talk about today is how we wanted to approach any like learning readings.
Yeah. Last year we did like picture books, written and illustrated by Indigenous folks. Is that it? Would we want to do something along those similar lines or different lines or?
I like that.
Yeah, if we could host like a virtual book reading.
Mhm.
We could even do like a Facebook event where, parents can put it on their screen and the kids can sit down and like be read to as if they were in person.
Yeah, I wonder. So we've grappled over the past year with the virtual book readings of, is it better to host a event that's at like a specific time and like some people will be able to make it at the time, other people won't, or to just like post the video and people can just like watch it whenever they feel like it. And you can do both, so
Mhm.
I don't know. We get like, yeah. I guess my question is there added value to having an event versus just a video that people can watch?
Hmm.
Feel like maybe if there's some sort of Q&A or show and tell aspect to it, that would be live. Otherwise, a recording is, it's just the book reading, which is the purpose. If we had like someone who's from a tribe or a community that's actually doing the reading, I think that could help determine whether or not it's live versus recorded. And if it is live, we at least record that and then we can post the replay on our channel. I don't know if we can post it on our website, like the town website, or on our page, so people can, in case you missed it, catch it here.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So
think, yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I agree, Danielle, because if we have it live and we say like it's just us three reading it and people have questions, I mean, we're not skilled or anything to answer that. So I guess right now it just would have to be just a reading, unless we.
Yeah, I guess I'm on the side of having a recorded, just like a recording that we can post. For that reason of like, I'm not sure what we would do if it was an interactive event. But I think what could be interesting, so this occurred to me sort of too late-ish last year. So the book that I was reading afterwards, I was kind of rewatching the video and thinking about it and thinking about how there are ways that I could have talked more. So maybe there's like the actual book reading and then there's like talking a little bit about like relating that to our local history a little bit. Like the book had in it a reference to the Trail of Tears. And it occurred to me afterwards, I was like, oh, I could have pointed out, like, for example, there's been forced migration here in Massachusetts, and like how that relates to our town's history. Things like that. There could be some like added, I don't know what it would be, like discussion or information in addition to just the story. Could be cool.
Like that.
Which I think would just take some like research on our part. So it depends, I think, on whether we have the capacity or the expertise to really do that. Like it was very eye-opening last week with Rafa, where I had done like some research about the history of the native peoples of this area. And what he said like totally blew everything I had researched like out of the water. I was like, oh my gosh, you know so much more than I do. And I like didn't even, anyway, point is, am I even competent to research any of those things?
So maybe if we do a reading, like just like books, like we could do like 1 or 2 picture books for the young reader, one for like the middle schooler, and one for like a passage or so, or a few from an adult book, maybe like a book on poetry. I know I'm reading young adult book right now, which is really good. The Firekeeper's Daughter. That could be good, and maybe.
Yeah, I like that idea. Like poetry, I think is a good option where it's short enough that you can do it in a reading,
Mhm.
you know, like a video that's not going to be like a million years long.
Yeah.
Um,
And poems can just hit differently when they're, you know, like spoken to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
yeah.
I wish we could do like some, because this town right now is just like, on edge. I wish that we could do some sort of like more like gentle, not necessarily gentle, but some type of like education along, but not something where people are going to be like, oh my God, they're doing this, which I have no problem with that, but I think of something to bring the mass in rather than the mass complaining, but I don't think after the conversation, also the last time, I feel like we're not equipped to do that without a little bit more time to meet with people to help us.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know, maybe I'm too fixated on this one person, but I do wonder if the person I was talking about would be interested at all in joining us. Or yeah, if not, then what should we do? Like how do we plan an event that's like inclusive and respectful and like not ignorant
Mm-hmm.
if it's only
Yeah.
planning it.
Right.
Certainly tricky. That's why I think, we're approaching it so many different ways, with the readings, with the petition that we can promote, the other events like the Smithsonian the day of, or I think it's the day after, that people can attend and learn. I think the reason why we're approaching it at so many angles is because we don't have like the guidance on how to make an event inclusive and well-informed and not controversial. Not that it would be controversial, but
Right.
like interactions with it could be. What's his name? He like leads the town meetings, and he like basically makes sure that people stay on time. He was involved in that in the open forum. Like he gave people time, he cut them off. So it was
yeah.
like without that.
Is that Mullen? Is that Tom Mullen? Is he there?
No, it's the town moderator.
Yeah.
Bill
Mullen?
I can't remember his name. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, without that sort of like person power,
Mm-hmm.
it would be really hard on us, I think. And
Yeah.
if we're all empaths, it's like that's a lot to take on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess for now, then we're just at doing some book readings until after you meet on Sunday to see maybe we can collaborate and use other ideas of other towns.
Yeah, the book readings and linking out to that Smithsonian event.
Yeah.
I have from last year, I did some research on like, we were only doing elementary school aged books, kids books that are written and illustrated by Indigenous authors and illustrators. And we chose 8 books and did 3 readings. And so I have 5 more books that are like, like good options. Like they're, what's the word? Like, like well liked books that are recognized.
And we have to check to see if people are still allowed to read them online.
Yeah, we would have to contact the publishers. Is like definitely one thing that takes, like, it would be good to pick the books and contact the publishers ASAP because it takes them a while to respond. Some of them may still have ongoing, like, open, some publishing houses were like, you can read our books
Mhm.
on a recorded forum, like kind of indefinitely. Right now, because of the schools were closed and a lot of teachers were having to do like recorded readings. But if that's not the case, it takes like a while to get the permissions. So for sure, I don't know. What do you,
I think Casey might know. Casey would know at the library too.
Oh
most
yeah.
He
Yeah,
probably does.
he gave me
now.
some pointers last time. That was true.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at the list of books that I have already
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
and try to like choose from among those?
Mm-hmm.
Because I could try to do it. I could try to find it right now and do like a screen share.
Yeah.
Let's see. Daniela, I recognize that this might be hard to see on your phone. I feel like the screen share on the phone is like this big. But let me just pull this up just so that you can see it anyway. Okay, so the books that we read last year were Fry Bread, At the Mountain's Base, and Bow Wow Powwow. And then there's these other books, which include The People Shall Continue, which is pretty long. That maybe would be considered more of a middle school age book, maybe.
Mhm.
It's like a history book, so it talks about some kind of untold or not popularized histories of Indigenous people. When the Shadbush Blooms is really lovely. It like juxtaposes the ancient kind of traditions. It goes like sort of throughout the year. It starts in the spring, and then there's a portion that talks about the summer, and it talks about ancient traditions and ways of life and compares them to modern traditions and ways of life in Indigenous communities and how they're similar and how they've changed. It's also it focuses on I think the Lenape people, which is a people of the Eastern Seaboard, sort of the like northeastern, what is now the northeastern US. So it's like sort of regionally relevant to us. The People Shall Continue is a little bit more focused on Pueblo people, I believe. Hiawatha and the Peacemaker I personally love, also regionally appropriate to us. It's about the Confederacy of Nations that came together. There's like 5 nations that came together. This is like maybe in the 1500s, 1400s, something like that, to make kind of a confederacy, which is actually like some of the sort of what do you call it? The kind of political structures that existed within that confederacy were part of what the colonists based the U.S. government on, like took inspiration from how they functioned to make the United States. So Hiawatha and the Peacemaker is the story of like how those peoples came together. When We Were Alone is a young children's book. It's like, got very few words. And it's about, what are they called? Those schools, the boarding schools, where they like stole children. So it kind of like deals with a heavy topic, but in a age appropriate way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no, I'm confusing them. My Heart Fills with Happiness is the one that's a young children's book. That one's just like really nice and lovely, and it's like people with their families. When We Were Alone is like a kid's book, but it's not that like really young kind of, 5-year-old age. It's like more for slightly older kids, and is about the boarding schools. So those are the books that I had on my list from last year. I don't know if anything calls out to you.
I want to just read them for myself already.
Yeah, and some
People
of them
should continue.
What I discovered is you can find book readings, like if you Google these, and like you can get them at the library, or you can just like Google them and like have somebody read them to you in a video, like get a sense of what they're like. So And I can certainly send this list to you all. So what would be best? Do you all want an opportunity to read them or / watch them, whichever way you end up consuming them? And then we would decide maybe next week or whatever on the final like choice for the book. And because then there's also, if we want to do a middle school age book and an adult piece, we would have to like maybe do some research and decide next week about what to do with those.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. I jotted down a few things to read myself, including The Firekeeper's Daughter.
Yeah.
But
It's a big book. That one's good though.
I think When We Were Alone could be very relevant to current things that are happening today and things that are being discovered or at least
that's true.
publicized.
Yeah.
So more formal education on that may be needed at this time, because I feel like a lot of it is being either interpreted by the media, or what I consume myself is just Indigenous peoples posting on TikTok, and it's like that 90 seconds or so. That's not enough, so to like dig into it a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, and like if we did want to use it as the basis for like some kind of teaching moment or like history thing, it's like the book does a good job of like talking about the experience of what it's like to have gone through that and the way that it impacts like individuals and also their families down the line. But then, yeah, like drawing those connections to the current day, like what's happening, could be cool. Okay. So I guess if you both want to take a look at that list, and also anything else, like it doesn't have to be these 5 books. These are just like ones that I got excited about last year when I was doing it. So, but maybe we can come together the next time we meet to make a final decision about the books. If we want to do other ones of other age groups, like a middle school one and an adult one, how should we go about picking those?
Well, I think we can ask Casey first of all, and then maybe just do like, see if there's any on the New York, like any of them that are recommended on the New York Times or something like that, and see that way. Or even at the bookstore, at any. I mean, you have is there a bookstore in Cambridge? Is it? Yeah, well, the Harvard, like if any of us, like if you had time, like they sometimes know like really books that are flying off the shelves that are really good, like those local bookstores. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think contacting Casey is definitely like a great way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's start with that. Maybe she might have a book on poetry too.
Yeah.
That she recommends, and then I'm trying to think, am I going back to the library this week? I was just there 2 days in a row. Should have asked.
Well, it's easy enough to email and see if she has anything she can share. So I'm happy to reach out to her and get that ball rolling, and also ask that, like, if she has any tips in terms of, because last year it was helpful. She was like, choose books that are published by so and so because they have this like blanket permission right now. So maybe she can tell me what's the current status with all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Let's see. So I'll contact Casey. And then, feel free to also, you all, if you have other suggestions or things, like you said, if you are talking to somebody who's knowledgeable, or you look it up online or whatever, we can talk about everything next week.
Sounds good.
Yep.
do we want to reach out to the Bairds and see what would interest them in terms of being involved?
Yeah, I think so. I think, ask Amy if they want to read one of the books, or something. I think if they have a book that they grew up reading, that would be great too, and bring it to the reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to email Amy, or do you want to, or, I mean,
Yeah, you can, if you want to email Amy and see if she could send along the contact information. And you said also that Nicole might be like in contact with that other family member.
right, yeah.
Name
Oh,
may
you
or
can
may not
ask
be
her
Leonard.
too. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And feel free to, I don't know if any of them are like, if they want to, but feel free, if you do end up getting a hold of any of those family members, to invite them to our next meeting or whatever it is that they would like to, however they might like to engage.
I have to tell you, like, I feel completely even after, I keep forgetting his name. What was his name that was here last week? Your friend Daniela, what was,
Rafa.
yeah, conflicted about, like, even calling this day Indigenous People Day, because it's like they should have their own personal day, and I'm like like really struggling, like there's like no week that's Native American week, there's nothing that we celebrate, and here, now we're, it's on the calendar, whatever, it's been celebrated at, and we like the world can't come up with their own personal day of celebration. So but I find myself like lately just saying, oh, we don't have school on October whatever, and not calling it anything. And so, yeah, I don't know, like how, how do you balance that? Not like you guys would know, but how do you balance that conflict, that inner conflict or turmoil, now,
Well, I thought that Massachusetts renamed the day to Indigenous Peoples Day. So to me, Columbus Day doesn't exist. So I don't really say it. If I say anything, I'll say Indigenous Peoples Day, because that's what I thought was the move, was to like change that day to be more appropriate, of who we should actually be celebrating.
Yeah, it's not Massachusetts wide though. It's town by town, city by city. I believe because there's a movement certainly to change it, like across the state. But I think that right now it's still like kind of on the municipal level, like different, like Brookline changed it and Cambridge changed it, like different towns are making their own call about what they want to do. Some places are having like both. It's like both Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day. Some people are just making it Indigenous Peoples Day. Anyway, so and I think there's still, like, they keep reintroducing the legislation to make it a statewide thing, but it hasn't made it to a vote. In the
Okay.
past, like however many sessions they've introduced it.
Yeah.
What's Wakefield's
Coming up
stance?
soon.
I don't know that Wakefield has a stance. I don't know
I
that
think my
anyone has,
calendar says Columbus Day.
yeah, they haven't
rough calendar.
yeah, Wakefield certainly hasn't made a change, but I don't know like if that conversation has been brought up municipally or if it has, like how that conversation went. I took that away from what Rafa was saying last week too, of like, if there is any movement within a town to change it, it's really good to plan ahead. Like, don't plan ahead a couple years or a year and do some good educational stuff throughout in the community so that
Mhm.
if the question does come up of changing the name of that day, people can be like informed and engaged in that dialogue in a way that's like constructive.
Mhm.
It's a good point.
That's very good. That is, yes.
Kind of like future planning for this committee,
Yeah.
whoever this committee is next year. And then same with the land acknowledgement. Like, I don't know if we're going to try to do the land acknowledgement this year for the day of mourning,
Mm.
which is, I think, the end of November, or if we're going to try and do it for next year. But it's kind of like, future planning for the.
Yeah, the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, maybe either of you is more knowledgeable than I am. So what is it that goes into preparing the land acknowledgement that would like take a lot of time?
I don't know. I thought he said that they would have to come and see, and then they have their recommendations. And
Oh, I
I
see.
thought he just said it's a lot of like some steps or something. I thought he said.
Oh,
That
I
would-
think I misunderstood. I thought it was just like the town would release a statement and it's a handful of sentences, but like those sentences need to be carefully curated because our history is that whose land we're on is there's a native tribe, and then there's a tribe that like took over in Massachusetts, and they are like currently, and that's what he was speaking to, like there's politics right now.
Mhm.
So we would have to acknowledge both and in some way. And the wording was supposed to come from, I forget her name, that she was supposed to give us guidance on how we would prepare a land acknowledgement and how other towns have pushed it through. So like this is something that would probably go in front of Steve Mayo. It would have to be voted on the
And
town council.
Yeah. I think we're ripe to do that. I'm sorry. I must have been maybe I was thinking about the plants. We were talking about so many things. My brain was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't even realized that we were talking about it as something that the town would do. I was thinking it was something that we as like a part of our event would, like include a land acknowledgement, a territorial acknowledgement in whatever we're like doing a video, and it's like, before we begin, we would like to make this territorial acknowledgement. It didn't occur to me that it was like a municipal thing that would, require like quite a bit more forethought. But I do love the idea of putting that on the radar and working towards it. And this is one question to bring up at the thing on Sunday is like, how are people doing that in different towns? Like what works, who have you contacted in order to get guidance on that or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So are we going to talk more next week at the HRC meeting, or are we having a separate subcommittee?
I think we should have a separate subcommittee. I mean, we can like share back some info, because probably I'm thinking the Italian Americans for Indigenous Peoples Day thing is on Sunday. The whole HRC meeting is on Tuesday. So like we can share back what, some stuff that came up at that Sunday meeting.
Mhm.
But I think it would be good then to also have our own subcommittee meeting to like talk about the books and decide like other stuff instead of taking up the HRC meetings right now are running like 2 hours long. It like makes me want to claw my eyeballs out. So not try to add anything more to that.
I feel you.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, but it's just a lot. We have to cram a lot into every meeting. So, but I know that that's then like 3 HRC related meetings in a week for anyone who's able to go to all 3. So I don't know what seems manageable for people in terms of having another subcommittee meeting for the 3 of us.
So we're coming more with completed action items when we meet the next time. So maybe it won't be as long. So we wouldn't have to. I'm thinking.
Yeah, we'll have to sort of make final decisions about the books.
Mhm.
And I mean, there may still be more stuff to deal with because if there's like new ideas or other stuff that come out of either the conversations with the Bairds or
Yeah,
the
that's-
meeting on Sunday, like there might be like new stuff to think through and deal with.
forgot about that too. Yeah.
But,
Well, I'm fine. I might have to take it from the car, but well, it is what it is. Yeah.
So I'm free Wednesday, Thursday, Friday after work next week. Or Monday.
Wednesday's probably the only day. Wednesday or Thursday, I know I can't do Friday, but
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday are good.
Any preference between Wednesday and Thursday?
well, today's Wednesday, so want to just stay with Wednesday.
Yeah, it's fine. Does 7 o'clock work? What we did today? Okay. Okay, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. And let's see, is there anything else that we need to be trying to nail down between now and then? Any other next steps? I'm contacting the librarian. Nicole, you were going to reach out to Amy and Nicole Calabrese. Is it
Mhm.
Calabrese or Calabrese?
I don't know how she pronounces it. It just looks like Calabrese to me, so that's what I say in my mind.
About seeing whether either of them have contact info for the Baird family.
Mhm.
And
And then-
then me and Daniela are going to attend that thing on Sunday. Any
I'm
other-
excited to hear what they say
Yeah,
on
me
Sunday.
too. I
Yeah.
really want to see what's going on.
Sounds great.
And I just shared that book list with both of you so you can take a peek at it. And whatever like list or recommendations I get from Casey, I'll send those along too, so you can look at them before we meet next time.
Sounds great.
Cool. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Good luck this week, Daniela, with your other action items.
I know.
Thank you. I'm hoping to get at least one or two done today.
Good luck.
Yep. Thanks, Benny.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I hope you both have a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
You ready? Bye.
Bye.